We didn't know who they were, or what they wanted. All we knew was, they weren't supposed to be here. This was no drill. This was survival. It started like any other Tuesday. I was in history, half asleep, listening to Mr. Carter ramble about ancient trade routes. The air was heavy, the kind that makes you count the minutes until lunch. Then, we heard it. A siren. Close. And getting closer. We get sirens near school all the time. Traffic accidents, fire trucks. But this one stopped right outside. Mr. Carter glanced toward the window. His jaw tightened. And then the intercom crackled to life. Attention, this is not a drill. Teachers, initiate lockdown procedures immediately. We'd done the routine before. Lights off, doors locked, hide. But something about the sound of that siren, something about Mr. Carter's pale face, made me believe this time was different. Chairs scraped across the floor as we piled desks against the door. We crouched low. Nobody spoke. Later, we learned the truth. 2 men had robbed a gas station less than a mile away. Police chased them through the streets. Instead of giving up, they cut through alleys, and straight onto our school grounds. They slipped in through an open side gate, and vanished among the buildings. In our classroom, the tension was like a held breath. We could hear voices outside, low at first, then louder. Footsteps running down the hallway. Someone knocked on the door. Hard. 3 times. Mr. Carter motioned for silence. Whoever it was, didn't knock again. Across campus, in the gym, things were worse. The basketball team had been practicing when the lockdown started. The coach shoved everyone into the storage closet. Through the small window in the door, they saw one of the men run past, sweat dripping, clutching a black duffel bag. Seconds later, the other man appeared, holding something metallic in his hand. Police swarmed the campus. They moved classroom to classroom, guns drawn. We could hear them shouting commands, but we didn't dare open the door until they identified themselves through the intercom. Even then, nobody moved until Mr. Carter nodded. They caught one of the robbers hiding in the science lab supply closet, trying to stuff himself behind boxes of glass beakers. The other? They found him crouched under the bleachers, breathing hard, eyes wide like a trapped animal. The entire lockdown lasted just over an hour, but it felt like half a day. When it was over, we learned they'd been armed. The black duffel bag was stuffed with stolen cash and 2 loaded pistols. If they'd found an unlocked classroom, this story could have ended very differently. School went back to normal. Sort of. But the next morning, when I opened my locker, there was something inside. A folded piece of gas station receipt. Scrawled in messy handwriting were 4 words, "We saw you shaking." Nobody ever figured out how it got there. Or who put it there, but I guess it was Jick, my class bully who said I was extreme during lockdown. I mean, who wouldn't be? I could hear him getting closer. Just one thin door between us and him, and then it hit me, my sister wasn't in the room. This wasn't a drill. It was Friday morning, the kind of day that felt safe. I was in business class, daydreaming about the weekend. My twin sister. In the science lab, finishing a chemistry practical. We'd had so many lockdown drills lately that they'd become background noise. Something to laugh about afterward. So when the first announcement came over the intercom, I didn't even look up from my notes. Attention, this is not a drill. Repeat. This is not a drill. My pen froze mid-sentence. Everyone glanced at each other, half smiling, like they were waiting for someone to yell, "Gotcha." Instead, the door slammed open. It was Miss T. Her face was white. She didn't shout. She didn't panic. She just started moving desks against the door. Less than a minute later, we were all crouched on the floor, hidden behind tables. My knees ached. My mouth went dry. That's when I noticed Andrew. He was sweating so much his hair stuck to his forehead. His breathing was too loud, and then he let out the loudest fart I've ever heard. It would have been funny any other day. But now, it was just another sound that might give us away. And then we heard them, slow, deliberate footsteps in the hallway. I reached for my phone, texted my sister, "Where are you?" No reply. Later, she told me she'd left the science lab right before the announcement. She was on her way to the restroom when she saw him. A man. Early 40s. Wearing a faded jacket, too bulky in the middle. He was pacing, muttering to himself. His hands trembled. She thought he might be lost. So she made the mistake of asking if he needed help. He grabbed her wrist so fast she didn't even flinch until she felt the cold press of a gun against her ribs. "Keep walking," he said. She didn't fight. She didn't scream. He led her into the yard where the water fountain was, that was facing the entrance to the building. Over the intercom, the principal's voice tried to sound calm. "Sir, please, let the girl go, she is just a student." His reply was a scream. "I need to see Elias. Give me my son." He said his wife was trying to take his boy away. Said they were hiding Elias from him. The principal tried again. "Elias isn't here. You have the wrong school." But he wouldn't listen. His grip on my sister's arm tightened with every word. I sat there, in the dark, behind a table, thinking about every fight my sister and I had ever had. Every time I'd wished for some space. Now I would have given anything just to see her again. The room was so silent I could hear the clock ticking. Every footstep outside made my chest seize. We didn't know if he was coming for us next. And then, the intercom crackled. His voice was breaking now. Still calling for Elias. Over and over. And then, silence. Until we heard a horrible, choking gasp. He started foaming at the mouth. He bolted down the hall and into the boys' bathroom. That's where the SWAT team tackled him. They dragged him out, limp and coughing. He'd swallowed something just before entering the school. My sister was freed, shaken, but alive. She didn't cry until she was already sitting in the back of an ambulance. They found a note in his pocket. Elias wasn't a student here. He went to another school across town. His wife had a restraining order against him. He'd come to the wrong place. But he would have hurt anyone who stood between him and the fantasy in his head. School opened again that Monday. Everyone pretended it was normal. When I walked into business class, there was something on my desk that hadn't been there before, a folded piece of paper. It just said, "They won't keep us apart." I remembered them looking for a piece of paper that was supposedly found on the man. I think it was meant for Elias. But why was it on my desk?